of this fact. That when the government introduced an amendment to the taxation laws to combat multinational tax avoidance last year, the Labor Party voted against it. Now, these changes were designed to deal precisely with multinational companies shifting profits around the world and avoiding tax. It was part of an OECD and G20 combined effort to address this type of multinational tax avoidance. These big multinational companies have got access, as I said earlier today, to mechanisms and arrangements that are not available to Australian taxpayers, to ordinary Australian businesses. Now, what this law provides is that businesses with a turnover of over $1 billion have got to report how much tax they pay in every jurisdiction, so that everybody will know how much they are paying. And when we look under the new law as to whether an arrangement is designed to avoid tax, instead of the old provision, which had been obviously the law of the land under the Labor government and previous governments, and instead of the old provision, the purpose being that it had to have a sole or dominant test of tax avoidance, the new test is that tax avoidance is, and I quote, one of the principal purposes. That makes it much, much more straightforward for the ATO to levy tax. The level of penalties has been doubled. The jurisdictions to which it used to apply, the laws used to apply, were basically limited to no tax or very low tax havens. Now that is no longer that restriction is no longer there. So what the law did, Mr. Speaker, was give the Australian Taxation Office the 21st century tools to combat ingenious 21st century tax avoidance, to collect that money. That's what the law did. And the Labor Party voted against it. They voted against it, Mr. Speaker. They lined up with the multinational tax dodgers. They lined up. They stood in the way of the ATO collecting the money we need for schools, for hospitals and roads. They have no shame. They have no shame. They have lined up with the tax dodgers.